And we welcome you back to Sun Sports coverage of college gymnastics. 10th-ranked Florida going up against Nebraska, and it's the Cornhuskers with a 2-10 lead after the first two rotations. Florida will now be on balance beam, and Nebraska will be on the floor exercise, and the Gators led off by senior All-American Orley Szmuch.
She's usually an all-arounder for Florida, but they're resting her up for the Alabama meet. Nice handstand, layout, step out. Back handspring, step out. Florida knows they're going to have to hit at least 5 routines on this event to pull ahead of Nebraska.
Doesn't it seem in every close dual meet you can look at beam and a fall on beam as the difference between two good teams?
It does. It usually comes down to the balance beam, and it's hard to compete sometimes on the road in front of a big crowd like is here tonight.
Orley reached the finals at NCAA's on beam last year.
So you're concentrating, getting ready for her dismount. Nice round off, tuck double back. Set a little low on that landing. That's probably about a 2-tip deduction for the landing. Nice lift. It looks like maybe her legs just gave out a little bit on her.
But she held it together long enough and gets a 9.825, so obviously not a 2/10 deduction for Orley. If you sign our balance beam judges are in a good mood tonight. Ashley Reed in her third event of the night.
Starting with her switch leap into her gainer layout, step out. They are required to have special things in their routine, like an acrobatic series, gymnastic series, a full turn, and a leap. This helps their start routine come from a 10-0. Nice acrobatic series.
Reed has competed in all-around in each meet so far this season for the Gators.
Cat leap into a switch side. Sometimes the jumps and leaps look like the easier skills, but they're the easiest ones to fall off on when you are nervous. Looking at her dismount, round off, double full, and one step at the end. Nice high lift, tight body on the twist. They just got to work on sticking those landings.
Well, it'll be easy for Rhonda Fain to talk to her team about where there's some more points to be gained because they've stepped on a lot of landings today. Hasn't hurt the scores too much. Ashley Reed with a 9.825, so Florida with 2 straight 9.825s on the beam as they get off to a good start in this rotation. Now to the floor, and here's Emily Parsons, who won this event against UCLA. Tough to win any event when you're competing against the national champs.
Exactly, and she scored that with a 9.90, and that's early in the season. So I bet she's going to be really challenging for the national championship on this event. She has lots of power. Round and back handspring, double layout, extremely difficult. You may be wondering why the mat's on the floor. They are allowed to tumble onto the mat with no deduction. With some of the more difficult skills that are being performed nowadays, it's more of a safety issue, and they're allowing that, whereas before they didn't always allow that.
You just find certain routines the way you're going through it. Do you need that extra padding?
Exactly. Well, that's a hard skill on the landing, especially if you land low on a double layout. Front full, punch front, mount her into a double stag. One thing you're seeing more of this year, instead of just the front tumbling, you're seeing the jump out of it as well, just trying to get that added difficulty in there. And she's really playing up to this Florida crowd.
Yeah, she extends the arms a little bit. We could call that a chomp.
I don't know if we'd go that far. One thing about this Gator crowd, they always appreciate great gymnastics, and it is fun for even the competitors from the other teams to compete at Florida. All she has is her last pass. Front double twist, extremely difficult to end her routine with.
Emily Parsons, a freshman from St. Charles, Missouri.
Taking a look at that front full, front tuck, mounter, and a double stag jump. Done very well.
And the judges agree. 9.90 for Emily Parsons as she matches the score she posted against UCLA. And now here's Florida's Katie Root.
This is a great event for her. She's a second-team All-American on the balance beam. You'll see a variety of the girls moving down onto the beam and up on the beam. There's all kinds of different ways to fulfill their requirements. Back handspring, layout, step out. Looking very confident. Nice jump combination. She's been in the vault, beam, and floor exercise in every meet in 2004, so this is an event that she is accustomed to doing. Nice side summy. Very difficult. There's that required full turn.
And you know she can rise to the occasion because she posted a 9.925 at UCLA last year, so when you can do that, you can perform.
Nice unique dismount coming off the end. It's called a gainer layout step out, or layout with your feet together, actually.
So Katie Rue having a good night for the Florida Gators with a 9.90 on the balance beam. And here's Breanne King, and Breanne has been Miss Automatic in this event through her first year at Plus here at Florida.
Again, we've talked about how consistent she is. She hit 53 of 54 routines last year. You see her front aerial, side summy. Very difficult start. Florida looking very confident on the balance beam. Switch leap, straddle leap, straddle leap.
And since she so rarely misses, this is important for her to bounce back from a bars routine that was way below par to come out here and do a great job on the beam, and so far so good.
Yes, sometimes it is difficult throughout the night to maintain that composure after making a mistake and just getting back in there, but she knows how important this beam score is for Florida. Not really seeing any small bobbles for Florida on the beam right now. Her dismount, round off, double twist, stuck landing.
So Breanne King bounces back nicely with her beam routine.
Nice, difficult, double twist, great form.
You hear the crowd chanting a little bit, 10, 10, 10. Well, they'll have to settle for 9.950 for Breanne King, who won the beam in the Super 6, won it against LSU, and has a score that's going to be very tough to beat. Here's Richelle Simpson. Actually started her college career at Penn State.
She is the national champion on this event from 2003. So we know that this is a strong event for her. Run up a handspring, nice high double layout. Now, she's not that tall, and that was extremely high for a double layout. Nice front full, front pike into that double stag. Really playing up to the crowd. It's always fun to see the kids' personalities come through in their routines, and you can tell that they're really enjoying them.
Particularly for an out-of-town competitor, because they've got to kind of win over the crowd, where it's a natural for the Gators performing in front of the home fans.
Coach Dan Kindig has nothing but great things to say about her. She's a great role model. She has a great attitude, and it's such a young Nebraska team that they need this. Most of the time, the gymnasts are allowed to pick their own music. And, of course, the choreographers try to fit that routine to their personality. Nice Rudy into a handspring, layout, step out. Great finish for Richelle.
There you see the form of a national champion on floor.
And she's come back so strong from that injury. Look at that nice high double layout and nails it.
Simpson settles for a 9.10, and that puts it all on Samantha Lutz to make sure that that fall does not count. Lutz needs to have a good routine here for the Gators. And
she's the one to put up. She's the first team All-American on this event, placing 11th at the NCAA championships last year. She always works well under pressure. Last year they put her in at SECs, and she responded with a 9.9. She responds there with a nice punch front. Slight bobble on her jump. Nice jump combination. One thing that's impressive about this sophomore class is that they're all All-Americans.
Florida returned 7 All-Americans this year, more than any other school in the country. Nebraska, one of those that's next in the group, with 4 All-Americans returning for 2005.
You see lots of concentration. She gets ready for her switch leap into her wolf jump. You hear a little bit of music in the background. In the dual meets and some of the other smaller meets, they're allowed to have some background music so it's not so quiet. Like handspring layout, step out, full twist, dismount. Take a look at this dismount. Very difficult to do the layout, step out right into the dismount, a slight step at the end.
Well, Lutz makes sure the fall does not count because she posts a 9.875 for the Florida Gators. So the Gators nothing but great scores on beam as far as the official tally is concerned. One rotation to go in Gainesville.